So, a lot of times when people say, gosh, I walked into Homeboy Industries, you know what I felt? What's a word that people always say? Home, kinship. Okay, thanks for not giving me the word I'm looking for. Magic. Sometimes they always say magic. It was magical. And it made me think about magic. So some months ago, I was visited by some magicians. And they're from a group called Magicians Without Borders. And they go to refugee camps and orphanages and war-torn places where there's a lot of trauma. And they do magic. And then they teach the folk, their audience, how to do magic. And but what intrigued me, and they're actually going to come in January to do that here. What intrigued me was their language, the language of magic, the currency of magic. It has kind of three parts that say appear, disappear, change. I thought, well, that's sort of the magic of this place. You appear, you show up. You don't just show up, you show up to yourselves. You do the work, you pay attention, you look at some hard stuff, and you appear to yourself. And then things disappear, old ways of thinking, you move beyond the mind you have. You kind of let go of all that gang-banging belief system and getting high belief system. That disappears, and then change happens. So it's magic. Appear, disappear, and change. But they also told me about Harry Houdini, who was kind of a famous magician and illusionist, And he felt that magic didn't just amaze and amuse, but that it awakened a hope that the impossible was possible. That it was in fact possible for you to fall in love with your future. I remember a homie was in the hospital. He had an emergency appendectomy, and he was all, suffering in bed at the hospital. And I said, "Does it hurt?" "Only when I breathe," he said. So I encouraged him not to. And one of the smartest homies I've ever known, but dropped out of school and wasn't really doing anything with his life except running up to cars and selling crack. And I said, "You're so damn smart. You need to be in school. What do you think about, tomorrow for yourself?" He goes, "You mean," very sarcastic voice, "you mean, what am I going to be when I grow up?" Like that. And I went, "Well, yeah, I guess." And then with a voice just layered and layered with sadness, he said, "Oh, gee, I gave up a long-ass time ago thinking about my future." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because there's nothing there. There's nothing there." To awaken the hope that the impossible is possible and to in fact fall in love with your own future doesn't mean you say, one day I'll be president of the United States, or one day I'll invent the cure to cancer, or I'll win the Cy Young Award or something. No, it's not about that. It's about another kind of magic. I remember years ago, a homie who was a knucklehead, who was just into hanging, banging, and slanging, showed up in my office, and he stood in front of my desk and he said, "Be prepared to be proud of me." I said, "Okay, I'm glad I'm sitting down." He says, "You are talking to an employed vato." I said, "Wow, I can't believe that you finally gave up all that masa for a job. What do?" He goes, "That's the thing, you can't tell anybody. You can't tell my homies." I said, "Okay, what is it?" He goes, "I work at Chuck E. Cheese." Well, that's great, but what do you do? He goes, "Well, this part you really can't tell anybody. I'm the rat." You know that Chuck E. Cheese is a rat. A dirty, nasty, gray rat. I said, "Whoa, gosh, well that's terrific." He goes, "No, it ain't, it sucks. The suit is all hot, and it'd be humming in there, and kids be pushing you, and they'd be putting chicle on you. I hate it." I said, "Well, even still, what made you wake your ass up to leave all that stuff behind?" And he said, "Because in 2 months, my son's going to be born, and I want him to meet his father, a working man." Magic. Appear, disappear, change. and allow yourself to be wakened to the hope that the impossible is possible. And what's truly possible for you is to fall in love with your own future. So let's help each other do that today.